Welcome to WinOwl, the corner where the owl looks from the highest branch and tells us real stories with a sharp beak and wings open to doubt. Today, the wind brings a rough, uncomfortable, and very human testimony: jealousy, blurry boundaries, and the mirage of fraternal protection that sometimes covers other hungers. The owl, an old connoisseur of creaking secrets, accompanies you. The source is an anonymous thread from a confession forum of the "Am I the Bad Guy" kind, recovered by the ghostly collector Winter Ember, nickname invented to safeguard privacy. We do not publish real handles or identifiable screenshots, only the bone of the story, stripped and served. We present ourselves before this emotional outline: the older brother who protects, the younger brother who idolizes, and a girlfriend trapped between flattery, broken boundaries, and messages that should never have existed. To slide through the innards of this story, we let the boyfriend's brother speak to us in the first person and show us. Because sometimes the villain is not a monster, he is someone who convinced himself he was the hero.
I don't call myself a martyr, but if you ask at home who held the boat when it was sinking, they will say my name. I'm the older brother, 30 years old, an engineer between projects, the family's official mediator, champion of be clever, not honest. Honesty hurts. My younger brother idolizes me, or I gave him reasons. One never knows where one thing ends and the other begins. I met his girlfriend at an ordinary after-meal chat. Easy laugh, clear gaze, that kindness that settles your back like a freshly padded armchair. I thought, good for him. I also thought, she'll break the neck of the first idiot who tries to use her. And for some reason, my mind suggested that idiot could be the world itself, or someone I knew. Or
the older brother self-assigns the role of guardian. Virtue often comes with a shadow: control, hunger for recognition, addiction to being needed.
we started chatting 2 years into their relationship. She wrote to me to coordinate birthday gifts, surprises, questions about the family. I replied quickly with the enthusiasm of someone opening a box not knowing whether there are chocolates or dynamite inside. I was going to buy him some sneakers, she told me once. Size 43, right? He has a tricky foot, 42 and a half. If there are half insoles, even better. And suddenly, without noticing, I began to slip in jokes, and then curiosities, and sometimes questions too far. Is everything okay with him? Do you two behave? I sent that ellipsis like one who casts a hook into the river, then another. I mean, you two as a couple. Does he take care of you? I don't know when my questions stopped being caution and turned into curiosity with an appetite. I knew it when I noticed my fingers kept typing even when my head said enough. She dodged with elegance. We're fine. Thanks for asking. Sometimes an emoji. Sometimes nothing. I didn't stop. I told myself I was protecting, that my brother was clumsy, that any girlfriend would be grateful for an adult in the engine room. Me, the adult.
Self-deception is a cheap lighter. It lights easily, burns badly, and smells like plastic.
The party came. The photo came. A friend of mine, the one who always joked my brother was a circus monkey, ended up sitting on his lap amid laughter in a bar with beer-sticky floors. I took the photo. I posted the photo. Why? For being foolish, tone-deaf, applause-addicted, for underestimating others. It's a joke, I thought. She will understand. She did not. She exploded. My brother and she argued. She wrote to me, furious. Why did you post that? She's tone-deaf. Because there's nothing. I said, it's not a big deal. It is a big deal if I'm the girlfriend. I didn't manage to answer in time. Silence is cruel. Minutes later, I tried to fix it with a lightning bolt. Look, I admire you. You're intelligent. Anyone would want to be with you. If you doubt him, leave him. He doesn't deserve that much. Besides, and here the dagger, you earn more than our whole family put together. Why choose someone who hasn't taken off? What an unfair phrase. Hasn't taken off. Had I taken off, I was an engineer between projects. My projects were castles on crumpled paper.
The brother plays at sincerity, like someone throwing glass on the floor and being surprised by the noise.
She went quiet. So did I. A month later, my brother told me they were back together. With a twisted voice, he told me that the girl from the photo tested the waters, that he didn't reciprocate, that I only meant to help. My brother defending my stupidity with a blanket that was far too short. She confessed to having read me, my flattery, my advice that she leave him, my lines about his paycheck. He looked at me. Did you say it? His eyes were a wet dog's. I said half. I said she deserves respect. I said that, if she doubted, better clarity than a storm. I didn't say he doesn't deserve that much. I didn't say he hasn't taken off. That was swept under the rug. And like anything that sounds like dust, it came back to the throat in spring. I started writing to her again. Later. Clumsier. More invasive. You're out of his league, I sent one night. Stop that, she replied. I'm only telling the truth. I could. My thumb trembled. I would know how to give you. I sent it. I read it. I wanted to unsend it. Too late. She didn't answer. Instead, I got a screenshot of the chat forwarded to my brother. And then, the fog. She blocked me. Him too. And my brother, from the hallway at home, hit the wall with his knuckles. He didn't say anything to me. He pierced me with his eyes. He left.
The fire doesn't start when the flame appears. It starts when someone leaves paper near the burner.
I wanted to justify myself. I went to the usual bar. I called the reckless friend, the one from the photo. I knew from her first hello that my tone was the coward's, that harsh tone that pretends authority when what it needs is an apology. What did you do? She asked. Denying. I said. A couple of messages. You're an idiot, she answered. And you love to act like you're the adult in the room just because you remember to turn off the lights. She laughed at me. Good. That's what friends are for. I went back home and tried with my brother. I opened my mouth to tell him I only wanted to protect you. My tongue got stuck. Protect me from what? He would have said. From me, I thought. From me. I followed him in silence for days, passing him the salt, holding doors, solving favors. When he finally spoke to me, he said a phrase that pierced me like a needle. She is not your mirror. I didn't want to understand, because if you do understand, a part of you dies, the part that enjoys adoration. The one that casts itself as a hero in a narrative where no one asked for you.
The unilateral hero confuses caring for with possessing a version of the other person that confirms him.
To top it off, my parents entered the scene with the subtlety of a butter knife. Son, my mother said, "What was that you sent? Your brother is devastated." It's not such a big deal, I wanted to answer. Instead I said, I went too far. I meant to say you meant send everything to hell, and I'll be left to save you. My father rarely speaks with such clarity. Stop saving those who did not ask you to. I breathed like one climbing a dark staircase. I looked at myself in the mirror. I didn't see a villain. I saw an overgrown child building towers with other people's blocks. I thought of the first awkward message I sent 2 years ago, that "do you two behave?" which is nothing but obsession disguised as care. I thought of my economic tiebreaker with her. Me, fragile yet puffed up with pride. Her, solid, a steady armchair. Envy walks softly, in socks. Trying to make amends, I wrote a letter. I never sent it. The letter said something like, I didn't mean to be your judge. I was a judge. I didn't mean to compete for your attention. I competed. I didn't mean to disrespect you. I did. There are things that forgiveness polishes and others that only time files away. File me away. It's the most prudent thing.
The apology that is never sent is a museum of remorse.
After that, the versions multiplied. My brother spoke with mutual friends. She spoke with hers. Words traveled at the speed of heat. I tried to tie it all together with arguments. That I only said the obvious. That the photo was innocent. That anyone can get confused by tone. That emojis mislead. Arguments are ladders to climb out of a pit. Yes, they can also be shovels. The day I learned she had sent all the screenshots to my brother and then blocked us, I sat on the sofa like someone who arrives late to a show that's already over. Sometimes shame is so dense it won't fit inside the body. It seeps out through your hands. They were trembling. I called my brother. He didn't answer. I wrote to him. I'm an idiot. He didn't reply. I limited myself to setting an alarm. Stop believing I can fix everything. It rang the next day and the next and the next. I let it ring until my head learned the rhythm.
Inner alarms are a rare luxury. If only they came from the factory.
Some nights, to be completely honest, and since you asked me to tell you my version, I catch myself fantasizing that she would have chosen me if I had been Czech. I confess it so you'll understand the root, not so you'll excuse it. I realized too late that genuine protection doesn't seek to replace you or compare you or flatter you to pry you open. Genuine protection is a warning and then silence. I chose a microphone, and when she asked me to cut that out, I answered with the worst kind of love, the kind that doesn't know how to stop. Maybe the easiest thing would be to call me the bad guy. It relieves me if you do. It puts the map in order. But if I can ask you something, reader, owl, forum, whoever you are, don't gift me that comfort. I prefer a more laborious truth. I was a man afraid of his own failure, using other people's lives as if they were scaffolding. The result is obvious. She left. My brother, broken and proud. Me, with a late lesson. Sometimes ethics arrives last, tired, but it arrives. If there's anything I can do with what's left, it's to name it. Next time I want to take care of someone, first I'll ask myself, who am I really taking care of?
A good question. Perhaps too good to arrive early to the party.
There's more. In this kind of triangle, there's always more. The friend from the photo, with her knife-edged humor, wrote to me recently, "Have you figured out why you took that damn photo? Because I'm an idiot. No, because you wanted something to happen, and if nothing happened, for it to look like it had happened. I didn't know whether to thank her or block her. I chose to thank her. Learning hurts. Sometimes it protects. In honor of my brother, I must say one last thing. He idolizes me, yes, but his greatest virtue is also his salvation. He's slow to react and quick to forgive when he sees real repentance. I haven't earned it yet. I'm still in the hallway with the salt in my hand."
Sometimes redemption isn't a leap. It's small steps, without applause.
And about her, I'll say nothing more than this. Someone firm enough to block forever is someone who understands the value of her peace. I wish I had understood in time.
With a fold of a feather, we close this episode. From my branch, I've already taken the pulse. I see intimate boundaries crossed, sexual curiosity, sharp-edged flattery, pocket comparisons. I see fraternal idolatry that muffled alarms, and I understand her exit as a legitimate decision. When there are no healthy doors, you squeeze through the nearest window. For what comes after, I promise no miracles, only an apology without buts. If one day you try to stitch the soul back together, let it be with mediation and written rules. No messages alone, zero ambiguities, separate responsibilities. The older admits the protective interference, the younger steps down from his pedestal, and a digital cordon sanitaire so ethics has witnesses. Now then, WinOwl community, what would you do with these three? Total cutoff for a year, a formal letter and silence, mediation with a third party, or better yet, let it all fade into oblivion. The owl delivers sentence without drumroll. Whoever proclaims himself guardian without permission ends up stepping on the nest. Caring is not invading, it is warning, waiting and accepting no. There were no monsters here. There was unbridled humanity, which sometimes hurts more because it wears a disguise. She chose peace. May that peace become a school. If this flight ruffled your feathers, the owl invites you to leave a like, subscribe and explore the other episodes. Stop by the comments and hand down your verdict. We don't lynch here, we sharpen judgment. We'll hear each other on the next flight.